So let's start sketching. I've got my fine nib Lamy Safari pen, and I'm just going to start with my sort of main object of interest, which is this big sort of church cathedral type building. And I'm going to use the wrong side of my fountain pen, and we're going to be doing our sort of standard loose scratchy little lines and just building in shapes, gradually grabbing those simple shapes. So you see it's quite complex, but actually we've got an ellipse and a semicircle and a sort of bent triangle. This is what my mind is thinking as I sketch. We've got a nice rectangle and then a funny pointy thing. You know, it really can just be broken down into simple, just really simple terms. Simple terms for a simple man. But it does make life easier. So again, we just got this area is just a triangle, and a triangle. I suppose it's a scalene, isosceles and scalene triangle, isn't it? There's my my school geometry coming back. So we do just move around and just keep finding these really simple shapes. And remember, we can just really simplify things. So we've got all of these pillars coming down. They're basically just vertical lines, aren't they, really? You can see I made that first one a bit too broad. Well, we'll just make it symmetrical on the other side. We'll have another broad one, and that's fine. Just sort of slightly changing what's going on, but it really doesn't matter. By the end of the image, we'll just build up so much detail, and people aren't going to spot your mistakes. You'll spot your mistakes, and you'll spot things which other people will think are sort of touches of genius and perfect personal choices that you've chosen to put on the page. You can see we can use these wrong lines. I've sort of ghosted over them with this new one. I decided I wanted the window there, so actually it's ended up not even mattering that I made it broad. And again, we're just grabbing big shapes and changing things a little bit so they make a bit of sense as well if we need to. For things like perspective, I do find it reasonably important to get some degree of accuracy, just because our eyes and brain are very good at noticing if it looks wrong. And when I say accuracy, it doesn't necessarily have to be accurate to the image, it just has to make a bit of sense, or we have to have purposefully chosen to draw the eye there. Now I've also noticed in all my wittering I've missed out a whole chunk of this church, haven't I? Now I wonder if you spotted that before me. Quite possibly. So I'm just going to show you how little mistakes matter by just adding it on top. And now we've just got sort of textured lines behind the correct bit of the church. I only noticed that because I was coming in to draw my little circle there. But these mistakes don't matter, and they will happen, and things will change as well. You'll be sat outside a cafe sketching, and then someone will park a big van in front of you, and you'll think, that's an interesting van, you'll start drawing it, then they'll move it. But someone else will have parked a bus behind it. So we've got to be prepared to have techniques for changing our scene when it changes, or just for coping if it changes, and we've sort of become invested in what it looked like before. Now going back, we've got quite a bit of confusing detail, haven't we? So we can just gradually build up the sort of silhouetted shapes, the top. I often find it easiest to build up the top of an image. And then we've got this lovely building that just sort of sneaks in the side and creates a frame, which is a really neat way of ending an image, I always think. And then we can find the rest of this building, and we can just map it in with simple vertical lines which approximately show the shape that flows around. Now, time to add a little bit of detail, so let's get some of these windows. And again, we're just showing suggestions of what's going on. It doesn't have to be really accurate, just the idea. And there's a certain importance of getting the right density of line work, so having enough ink on the page that we've drawn the eye. And that's very personal, I think, about in your approach. For me, it's hard to work out. Sometimes I find a sketch doesn't quite feel like it should, and often I work out that I've added too little or too much line work somewhere. And often we can change that. We can go back and add a bit more. We can make something else bold to detract from having added too much as well. Now the last obvious set of things to ink into this sketch are these people. So let's do that, and we can ghost them on top. So we just come in, we can get these sort of shape people or loopy people where we're just getting the idea that there's some humans in the frame. If we keep their heads all in approximately the same height, that's how sort of perspective works for people. Their heads are all going to be about at eye level. Doesn't matter how far back we go, and where their feet are, where the bottom of their feet are, is what sort of grounds them and tells you how distant they are. Okay, and then just a few more bold lines in a couple of places. Just sort of what I'm trying to do here is bring out those really important shapes. And there we go. And there may be other things that you want to include. I guess one more thing I'm going to just include, just on the edge of this image, is this lovely building which looms over as well. We can bring that down. Now we've got this fun sort of frame on both sides, sort of buildings which are encroaching on our image. And we can move on to adding some splashy colours. So I'm going to be using a couple of brushes which you might use if you're out and about. So I've got a Pentel watercolour brush, a water brush, sorry. And I've also got a brush whose brand I can't tell you, unfortunately, because I bought it in Romania, of all places. But you can see it's got a lovely flat tip and a big water reservoir, which is really important for this style of sketching. What we're going to do, we're going to use this one first. We can just pull its nib out, got lots of water in there. We can squeeze it to get even more water. I'm just going to wet the page. Just bring it around, get the page nice and wet. And then I've got the advantage of having a pot of water that I can actually clean it off with, which is, to be fair, easier than doing it with the water in the brush. We can come and grab some colours, and we can just start letting those wash over where we've added our water. And I don't want to be too neat about this. I don't want to totally outline the building, but what I do want to do is just allow those colours to pool down and create somewhat of an outline. But then we're going to start again taking some hints from what's in the image. So we've got this orange glow, so let's add a little bit of orange. This is a transparent pyrrole orange on top of what is a bit of cobalt blue. That orange can sort of pool round, we can flick it around and create interesting shapes. And then these colours can continue to pool and drop down. So if we just bring them down, so the advantage using orange and blue, do you see what's happening here? They neutralise really nicely, so we've now got this kind of automatic shadow as well as our lovely sort of glowing colours. Going to use this blue to just bring out a couple of these dark spaces as well. But it can be nice just to do these sketches where we're kind of leaving a lot of negative space. So a lot of these buildings can actually just be negative space, just sort of floating in the background, if you like. I'm going to change now to my other water brush, which is the same. It's got a reservoir. This one's pointed. And again, I'm going to cheat a little bit and use, because I've got my big pot of water, I'm going to use that just because it is a little easier. But you can see we can easily squirt and just bring out water if we need to. What I want to do here is get the idea of that glow that hopefully you can see coming down the page, and just reflect that idea. And this is really, it's sort of abstract sketching, isn't it? But abstract sketching still takes ideas from in front of you, and it still shows you the scene that you're looking at. It just gives you an opportunity to explore watercolour textures and have fun and just do something different rather than feeling too attached to your image. I'm going to take some of this yellow and just reflect it as well. It's nice to have it not just in one place, so we can reflect it in a bit of the sky, in a few other places, just like that. And before you know it, we're pretty much done. What I want to do is just get a little bit of some real heavy darks in a couple of places, just touched in. This is just using some indigo, and then I might actually turn our people into nice silhouettes as well. It sort of fits the vibe of the image, doesn't it? This is essentially a sunset image. It was taken at quite late in the day, actually, after a very late brunch. Lucky me. And so the people are quite dark and offset. And there we go. So I think that's pretty much me happy with that image. How long has it taken? Just about 10 minutes start to finish to create something really interesting, really loose, and really sort of quite fun. I'm going to just add some splashes here just to continue our little sketch onto this page where we've got the outline. And there, before I do too much, I'm going to stop and call myself happy with this little sketch. So that's our bit of fun sketchbook sketching for the day. And it's really easy to just do these little sketches to improve certain sketching skills and to gradually build up a beautiful library of sketchbooks. Thank you very much for watching. Please do like, subscribe if you enjoy, leave a comment. Love to know your thoughts on this kind of style, and share with me here or on Instagram the kind of things that you like doing as well.